The Pacific Championships, they kick off on the weekend, and today I'll be predicting every single game for both the Pacific Cup and the Pacific Bowl. The stage is set for any one of these teams to win the Pacific Cup this year, with last year's champions and the team who's won it the most amount of times, Australia, because they are going over to England to play in the Ashes. And for you guys who don't know, there's 7 teams who can possibly participate in the Pacific Cup and Pacific Bowl, and Australia are one of those teams. But every single year, one of those 7 teams goes out on an international break to a different country. So with all that cleared up, with Papua New Guinea winning the last 2 Pacific Bowls, and Australia winning 2 out of the 3 Pacific Cup finals, with New Zealand taking one of them, yeah, as I said before, the stage is set. So let's get into the predictions. Go to this time right here if you want to skip forward to the Pacific Cup predictions. I'm going to start off with the Pacific Bowl. So the teams in the Pacific Bowl are Fiji, Papua New Guinea and the Cook Islands. First game is between Fiji and the Cook Islands, and I think this will be quite the simple one for the Fiji, but I feel like the Cook Islands will put up some sort of effort, and Fiji will only be able to win by less than 12, making it more of a close game. But look, I don't really have much hope for the Cook Islands. I feel like this battle is just going to be mainly between Fiji and Papua New Guinea. So going over to last year's champions and 2023 champions, Papua New Guinea, they take on the Cook Islands in that second round, and I expect them to destroy them more than 12, especially them having that home support in the Pacific Bowl. In the final game, which is round 3, the Cook Islands not competing, and because they've already lost 2 of their 2 games, they are finishing last on the ladder. But the difference for the Pacific Bowl and the Pacific Cup, top 2 in the Pacific Cup go to the final to decide who is the winner. But for the Pacific Bowl, it is like a division lowered down. So, meaning whoever just tops the table wins the entire thing. Meaning Papua New Guinea versus Fiji would be a battle to decide who wins this year's Pacific Bowl. And I'm going with Papua New Guinea. I think just that home support, and just look at them, man. I have so much hope for Papua New Guinea being one of those major sides in rugby league, because I think they could eventually start competing with Australia, New Zealand, Samoa, Tonga. So yeah, I have a lot of belief in Papua New Guinea, and that's one of the reasons. So I think Papua New Guinea will beat Fiji by more than 12, dominate them at home, and I'm sure every Papua New Guinea fan would be glad to see that. I mean, Papua New Guinea would finish first on the Pacific Bowl, followed by Fiji and the Cook Islands, meaning Papua New Guinea won it for 3 times in a row. Now it's time for the Pacific Cup. Either you watched it through, or you skip to this moment. So the first game is between the Kiwis, New Zealand, and they got Samoa. Now, I think Samoa, sorry if I get it wrong, please correct me. But look, from when I look at this Samoa side, it looks pretty decent, I believe. But I feel like they could have had they had other options to bring in players, but they've decided out maybe because of injury or other reasons, and that will probably really affect them, which is unfortunate for Samoa. I think the Kiwis, even though with Jerome Hughes out for the 2nd year in a row, Jerome, come on mate, you got to turn up to the internationals. But still, I think that Kiwi side it's ranked the 2nd best in the world, and there's a reason for it. They have a very good side, and arguably the best side in the entire Pacific Championships, and I think that's something I have to agree with. Obviously, they've got former Paraboy Dylan Brown, who I'll be cheering for, especially with one side of my family coming from New Zealand. I'll be giving them my full support. But with all this yapping done, I do think they will beat Samoa by less than 12 on that first day. Then we go to the Tonga and Samoa, which is the second round. And this is one of the 2 games which is being played in Australia, with this one being played in Brisbane. It's going to be an amazing electric atmosphere I'm sure everyone will be excited for. But look, I'm going with Tonga here. And you know what that means. It's going to be a Tonga-New Zealand final. But look, I think Tonga will destroy Samoa here by more than 12. That Tonga side is looking really good, and I feel like they could definitely prove something. And for the final game is the Kiwis versus Tonga. This, as you can tell, is going to be our final. But for this game specifically, I put the Kiwis to beat them by less than 12. So, as I just spoiled there, New Zealand top, followed by Tonga, and then Samoa. So, as said 100 times now, the final will be between New Zealand and Tonga. Now, obviously, I'm maybe a little bit biased because I'm going for New Zealand here. I'm giving them my full support. It's a game I'm going to. It's at CommBank. So it's the other game here in Australia. But I would love to see these two teams. Genuinely, that Tonga side is magical and they can pull something off. But I'm going with the safer option. The world number 2, I'm going with New Zealand. And I think they'll dominate them by more than 12. Is it a little bit biased? Possibly, could be. But that's all for me. So I think Papua New Guinea will win the Pacific Bowl and New Zealand will win the Pacific Cup. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure to like, subscribe. I don't normally say this, but please help me out. Please. I'm making a bunch more Pacific and international content over the international break. So stay tuned for that if that's what you're interested in. Okay, have a great day, guys. Goodbye.